As you all know, life is unfair. When it comes to trans people, there are certain things that we cannot do. What I'm referring to here is, of course, that trans women cannot give birth. Or can they?
Uterine transplants make childbirth possible for trans women. The first attempt ever made for a trans woman was in 1931, Lily Elbe. The surgery was unsuccessful and she died of cardiac arrest 3 months later. Her body rejected the transplanted uterus. She was 48 years old.
That is true, and she was Danish, just like me. And Lily's story is so tragic.
The donor has to be histologically close enough to the recipient for it not to be rejected, so similar tissues, perhaps from a family member. To the hundreds of people offering to donate their uteruses, you have to be a close enough match to the recipient. Then if the donor parts are kept, the recipient may need to be on immunosuppressants for life, which is dangerous and could shorten life expectancy over time.
Imagine being a woman going through all of that just because some biological men refuse to accept that no matter how many surgeries they'll get, they will always be biological men and they will never know what it's like to be biological women.
If the uterus that is transplanted holds someone else's egg cells, then it won't be genetically the trans woman's even if she carries it. It would be the donor's.
Exactly, and I think that biological fact exposes the intentions behind trans women wanting to get the surgery. This surgery has nothing to do with alleviating gender dysphoria in biological men. As you just said, a trans woman will risk a woman's life, another person's life, due to this surgery. Gender dysphoria is of course uncontrollable and a very strong feeling, but to actually want to get the surgery, like, don't you care about others? When it comes to biological men who want to get the surgery, they want to be validated as real women. They think that the only difference between them and biological women is that they don't have a uterus. I know, it's a very delusional way to think. It's 100% impossible for a biological man to be the mother of their child, like the real mother of their child. Any rational transsexual woman would be like, I ain't gonna do this because another person's life is at risk. I would still not be the biological mother of the children. Maybe I would risk my own life, so what's the point? But if you're a fake trans woman and you're a trans activist claiming that trans women are women, it makes perfect sense that they want to get the surgery because they don't care about others, they only care about themselves, and they're usually for dangerous medical experiments.
Even if the trans woman is naturally inseminated, we'd also have to consider how the egg cells latch to the uterine walls. Many factors are involved in this molecular sticking process. We don't yet know if a trans woman's body will produce the bioconditions necessary for carrying a baby to full term, but I believe it's worth exploring. We just need doctors and surgeons who are willing to try.
No, we don't need to experiment with this. As in at all. When it comes to biological women wanting to get a uterine transplant, that's a different story. Because they're women and they already have female anatomy. But there's absolutely no reason to experiment with this. Putting a uterus into a man's body. I cannot believe I just said that. Like, what is wrong with society? In 2016 we were like, how many genders are there? And in 2023 we're talking about if it's okay to risk a woman's life in order to please a man who wants to give birth. Okay. I'm grateful that talking about this is my job, but it's quite depressing too. I envy the people who don't know a damn thing about this world.
Are you aware of the doctor in India that's going to try and implant a whole uterus into a transgender woman so she can give birth? Dr. Narendra Kaushik is an experienced surgeon that is famous for doing transgender operations. He is so popular that 10% of his patients come from across the world. But uterus transplants are so tricky, even for cis women. The first cis woman to actually be able to give birth from this operation was only in 2014. This operation gives transgender women the possibility to give birth, and Dr. Kaushik thinks it's possible.
What is it with the background music, and what is your point? Do you think that it's amazing that transgender women might be able to get pregnant and give birth? You think it's a positive thing, even though it's super risky and, well, stupid?
It's been attempted in 1931, carried out on Lily Elbe.
I know, the Danish girl.
So I think you really have to look at what Lily went through, and then this doctor in India 2023 plans to actually make it happen. God, how brave is Lily though?
And the doctor?
Do you really think that it's brave for a doctor to... There's nothing brave about a surgeon who wants to put a uterus into a man's body, risking not only the woman's life, but also the man's. And if the man's life is not at risk, well, you're actually destroying his body and his mind too. The QIA plus community constantly accuse me of hating myself for being trans, yet they approve of this surgery. A surgery that's anti-reality, common sense, anti-biology too. And whenever you hear about something that's against biology, it is automatically anti-trans too, because trans people cannot exist without biology. Real transsexual women, chronic gender dysphoric men, can already do so much to their appearance. They can literally change their legal sex to F, female. They can look like women to a degree where people don't know that they're biological men. Yet activists push this transplant because God forbid that somebody is trans. We have to make men into women. Literally. Even internally. I think that's disgusting and transphobic. I don't think that it's fair to these delusional men who claim to be trans women to get the surgery, and I of course don't believe that it's fair to the women who offer the uteruses. Shame on the surgeons who want to do the surgery, want to experiment with this. I think it's disgusting. They should really be ashamed of themselves. I can't. To some degree, it's literally evil to do this to men and women, and I truly hope that this transplant will not be a real thing in the future. Thank you all for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you want to support me and my work, my PayPal is in the description down below. You can also support me through locals.com or by becoming a member of this channel. I love you all and I hope to see you in my next video. Peace out.